Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm pleased to be here on behalf of the Stewardship Committee to talk about why my husband Greg and I have been giving money to Morningside for more than 30 years. Morningside is our church family. Like all families, church and otherwise, we've had our ups and downs. When we joined Morningside, there were no small children and very little energy behind changing that fact. Token efforts were made to appear kid-friendly. One effort was the dreaded occasional moment with children. Elders were usually drafted to take the silent walk down the center aisle, to perch on the front steps and share a Bible story on the off chance there was a child in the congregation. My husband Greg was drafted to give one of these awkward presentations, and he spent a couple of weeks fine-tuning his Jonah and the whale story. He bought books and practiced in front of the mirror. Having been raised in a large Baptist church in Knoxville, he knew the value of early Christian education and fellowship in faith development. The Sunday came, and he took the long, lonely walk to the steps and took a seat with his picture book and waited and waited and waited. And just when the whole congregation was cringing in group embarrassment, Sarah and Richard Brownlee physically prodded their 16-year-old daughter Miranda to come sit on the step in front of Greg. We all sighed with relief, and my husband delivered an inspired lesson on the first chapter of the book of Jonah. We will always be grateful to Team Brownlee. Not long after that, after 11 years of disappointments and heartache, we found out that we were expecting our first child. Now, why would anyone in their right mind raise a child in a church like the one I described? Well, you wouldn't. But God had plans for all of us. He led us to work with our church family to create an environment that nurtures children. God provided inspired leadership. The neighborhood turned over to include lots of families with small children. It didn't happen overnight. It happened slowly. Our son Taylor was one of 4 kids for a very long time. But we had a cherub choir for the first time in years, and we had children's Sunday school, and we had vacation Bible school, and we started mission camp. Soon we had a youth group, and not surprisingly, Miranda Brownlee was one of the first to volunteer as a youth group advisor. Then we had a confirmation class of 4. Lloyd Prince, who's usually up there in the balcony, was Taylor's confirmation mentor. We held silent auctions to raise money to send the kids on mission trips and encourage them to take their faith into the world. We celebrated their graduations from high school and launched them into college, hoping and praying that some of it would stick. It did. Taylor was baptized into this church family on November 1st, 1998. Hillary McNeil was the elder who asked the congregational questions during the service. Morningside has nurtured him and supported him and taken pride in his growth because he's part of their family, and that's how family works. He learned to love sacred music in this sanctuary and learned about Jesus and service and worship and fellowship. Jonathan Crutchfield is one of Taylor's most valued mentors. Taylor is now an organist and director of music at Winter Park Presbyterian Church in Wilmington, North Carolina, and he loves his work. Our church family is growing, and therefore our need for funding to educate and support this family is growing too. I'm not telling you that if we generously fund our children's programs, all our kids will grow up to be organists and pastors. They won't. I'm telling you that they will have a strong faith foundation and Christian friends to sustain them when they go out to live in this very big, difficult world. Please join Greg and me in giving generously to this year's stewardship campaign. Thank you.